Hey everybody, Mike Baltazar here. Happy Wednesday to you. And yeah, you guessed it. We are doing Webinar Wednesday. And one of the things I wanted to just share, as you can see on the screen, is what to expect going forward with our webinar and live stream series. A lot of you might already know that I live stream on various different channels, different platforms. And I try to speak specific to that audience. Now, sometimes I just broadcast it all because I think all audiences could benefit from it. And so I've set up themes for Monday, Tuesday. We're still going to have webinar Wednesdays, and I'm going to introduce to you a couple new ones for Thursday and Friday. And that's what today's webinar is all about. So I'm going to update you on our content strategy for the rest of 2026. And why I'm doing this is because I'm trying to find ways to add as much value to those that I'm in partnership with, past clients, referral partners, and just the communities at large. Anyone that can find us on YouTube or maybe a Facebook post, we just want them to have the information to empower them, maybe even to encourage them to think outside the box, or just to understand that it's not as scary out there as we might think. And so the more information that I put out there within the context of my profession, which is not only a real estate and mortgage professional, but how many of us know that I'm a human? You know, I've been through life. I've done the work. I had some really good times and some really bad times, but at the end of the day, just found a way to just find myself, find happiness within me, cultivate that within me, and then in the process, being a better person, being a brighter light into those that I come into contact with. And so that's what this is all about. I've been teaching real estate agents here in the state of Arizona since 2014. I've been doing workshops since I got in the industry back in 97, but an official instructor since 2014. And I love that. But how many of us know that there's only maybe 20, 30 in the room? And what if I could share that same information and not even in a long hour format, but something a little bit shorter, sweet to the point, right? And share it with hundreds, if not thousands of people with live streams, with webinars. And so that's the goal, is to do that. And I'm very involved in the community and helping those in need and speaking life into those that, just need some encouragement. And so I'm very involved in that space. And so instead of just keeping that to myself or behind closed door with 4 or 5 friends, maybe a group that has, 10 to 15 people, why don't I just put this out there into social media, out into YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. And that way the information has a great chance of finding those that I wouldn't have met otherwise. So again, in this spirit of paying it forward and empowering people and connecting with people that maybe I wouldn't have connected with otherwise, our team and I are going to go live 5 days a week. And so, with that said, I want to just give a very general explanation as to why we convert to this format. Um, and the gist of it is this, is that if we as people, whether we are consumers looking at buying a home, or maybe we're just trying to improve our finances, or maybe we didn't set up retirement planning the way we should, and we just need some guidance along the way. Well, guess what? Let's have some conversations about that. But let's just say it's not business related. It's not finance, real estate, mortgage related. Let's say there's something else to it. And we just need to find a community that we can connect with. And so again, if we want to have better outcomes, we can't stay in isolation. How many of us know that our problems get worse in isolation? And it's okay to ask for help. And so, again, the more conversations that we have, and consistent conversations that we have, the further that we could go further faster, right? And so, I want to have better conversations. And I know that this is one-sided. This is a one-sided forum, and that's why I encourage people to reach out. And let's just say that you're an HR director or owner of a big company, and you just want to have me get in front of your group and speak life into them and any of the topics that we cover here, I'm happy to do that. Even if it's a small church group that you want me to come in and speak to, whether live in person or Zoom or webinar, I'm happy to do that. I'm very, very thankful for all the hurdles I've been able to navigate throughout my life and lifetime. And I know there's still some to come. And I look forward to those challenges because I grow, I thrive in those instances. And of course, it makes life a little bit easier to navigate. And at the end of the day, I just want to share my gifts and talents with others. And that's why we are going with this weekly framework. And so here's what you could expect. Some of you remember my Money Making Mondays from 2025, and those were fun to do. And you know that at the beginning of every single episode, every single Monday, I would always say the same thing, which is it's not about the money. So we were having Money Making Mondays, but it wasn't about the money. And so, in order to reframe it to something that has a better explanation, I think people came in on Money Making Mondays and they wanted to be about the money, so they left a little disappointed because it wasn't necessarily the content that they were looking for, even though if they tended to those pieces of advice, it does create an environment to where more money can come in. And that was kind of the gist of it. But if that's okay. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And so what I wanted to do here in 2026 is do a tiny little shift and call our Monday sessions Mindset Making Mondays. And this is taking control over your thinking. I mean, how many of us know that the things that go on in our mind, the things that we marinate in our minds, our thoughts, that eventually seeps into our heart. So it goes from the mind to the heart. And then it does say in ancient scripture that, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so it's very, very awesome to just know that basic formula. That way we start at the beginning, and that way the stuff that comes out of us, and that we sow into the people around us that mean the most to us. It starts up here. So Mindset Making Mondays, that's the spirit of that. And then on Tuesdays, some of you may have seen my live stream that we did yesterday, and it's Let's Talk About It. Now, again, I got that from a awesome partner of mine, mortgage partner. She's a rock star. Part of the reasons for my amazing success is I'm surrounded by some total rock stars. And Jen Patel is someone that I've been in the business with, literally working side by side with on and off for the last almost 30 years, 28 years. And so she came up with, let's talk about it. So I love tacos. She loves tacos. Everyone loves tacos, right? And we always look forward to Taco Tuesdays, especially here in Arizona. So on Tuesdays, we're going to talk about it and have Taco Tuesdays. And taco is an acronym for the truth always comes out. And I'm in the mortgage business. And so we play with numbers day in and day out. And what I tell clients, I've been telling clients since 1997 when I got in the industry, is here's the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. We look at that bottom line number, does it make sense? We look at all of our options, compare them side by side, and we're looking at numbers. Does it make sense? What's the best fit? And so it's not going to just be mortgage numbers or financial numbers. We're going to just talk about statistics in general. So it might be a life event. It might be finance and a finance event. It could be anything that is going to add value to our days, and we're going to talk about it. Now, of course, just like we're doing right now here on a Wednesday, we're going to be doing webinar Wednesdays. But also, one of the things that we're going to do starting next month is we're going to do a webinar specific to each of our channels. So stay tuned for that. So if you're curious, what does that mean exactly? Well, I speak to a lot of real estate agents. So we're going to have a real estate webinar. I mentor and coach a lot of awesome loan officers throughout America. So we're going to do a loan officer webinar. And as you know, I invite consumers into both of those. It's not just for one audience or another. I love to invite people in. That way they're kind of a fly in the wall and they get to see professionals talking about things because it educates them on what's out there, what to expect, or hey, guess what? I heard these loan officers talking about this. I wonder if my loan officer does that or has that. And so, again, looking forward to that. And of course, there's just going to be the personal development piece too. That's really important to me. So just paying it forward to others in that capacity. So stay tuned for more to come on Webinar Wednesdays. And then our Thursdays, we're going to dedicate it to tactical Thursdays. How are we going to apply, or how have we been applying, the content that we've been covering up to this point? And we may share, bring someone in to share their story. We may have, some case studies that we share, or maybe I just share some testimonials during that time. So we're not going to call it testimonial Thursdays. We're going to call it tactical Thursdays because, again, we can learn from testimonials. We can learn from different conversations that we have surrounding the content that we're covering up to this point. And then, of course, Fridays, we're still going to have Red Fridays in 2026. And Red is an acronym for remembering everyone's deployed. So wear your red on Fridays if you can. But we're going to dedicate our Friday live streams to Financial Freedom Fridays. And, it's not about the money, like we talked about in a little bit. But how many of us know that there's ancient scripture that says that, a successful person passes on, an inheritance to his children's children. And so, wealth is a great way that we could pay it forward to our future generations. More important than passing on wealth is passing on how to learn how to be happy. What is really happiness all about? That's something that I wasn't necessarily taught growing up, even though I was a happy person. I just didn't know where true happiness came from. And that's something that I learned a little bit during my 30s and learned a lot about in my 40s. And so at the end of the day, our Friday series, even though it does say financial freedom, it is ultimately about legacy. And so, how can we how can we set up our heirs, our legacy, how can we set them up best? And I think there's a really, really healthy balance between wealth and happiness, work and play. And so we're going to discuss that on Fridays. And I think it's going to be a very similar type of vibe as our Thursday series, in that we might have some testimonials, case studies, talk about maybe some of the things that we've covered up to this point. But at the end of the day, it's ultimately legacy. So there you have it. Thank you for attending our webinar today. Looking forward to future live streams, future webinars. And of course, I love the interaction. So feel free to DM me, text me, email me, give me a phone call, and let me know what you're liking on our series, on what you've seen up to this point, what you want to see more of. Or just have a conversation. The more quality conversations that we have is how we could go further, faster together. We don't have to do this alone. Hey, everybody, thanks again. Have an amazing rest of the week, and God bless.